We're going to start with some hoops talk. They get another win last Saturday against Arkansas, a comeback victory after falling behind and really playing poorly in the first half. And but the second half they caught fire. I think they scored 58 points there in the second half, and
Yeah.
to win the game 86-83 over a really improved Arkansas team with the return of Nick Smith Jr., one of the best freshmen in the country. But now the conference slate is almost over. 25-4, 15-1 in conference play. Jake, we'll start with you. Just your thoughts on the game Saturday and just your general thoughts on the Alabama basketball team.
I missed most of the game Saturday. I got on the last 5 minutes of it, and you know it was huge having Sears hit all those free throws late in that stretch because they was just inbounding it, giving it to him, and they was fouling him, and I think he only missed one of the 7 to 8 shots he took. So that was really clutch, and it was good to see because we talked before we got on here about how it kind of like the guard play has kind of offensively had got out of the rhythm a little bit, but I don't like you said, Stacey, we don't need to be clicking right now. We need to be clicking within 2 to 3 weeks from now and getting into a tournament time, NCAA tournament time. So that's when you want to be clicking. But overall, this team, I'm actually it's happy how they ended up. I didn't think there was going to be 15-1 in conference. I think they still lose two games, but if we win Wednesday night against Auburn, we lock up the tournament title, regular season title. So that's great to see. But I didn't expect this team to be this good this year. I knew Brandon Miller was going to be a special player, and we had a lot of good freshmen. But freshmen take a little while to get rolling. But this freshman core has been great all season long.
Yeah, I agree. Obviously, the game on Saturday wasn't easy going into it. I had a feeling that I think Alabama was favored by 7.5 points. Arkansas, despite their record, is a very good team. I think they're one of the teams that obviously March Madness is still a couple weeks away, but one of the teams that I have making a deep run just because they have probably the best guard rotation in the country or one of the best. So very solid program. As much as we like to joke on Eric Musselman, he's a great coach as well. So most importantly, we got the win. Kind of all year, I've been one of those people that said that we've lived and died by the three, but I think this game kind of proved that we are capable when our three-point shots aren't falling. I think we had made like 2 3-pointers the whole game. So if you had told me we'd made 2 3-pointers and we somehow found a way to win, I would have told you were crazy. So picked up a big win. Obviously, we have a chance Wednesday to clinch, or actually not clinch, win the regular season, SEC regular season. And I think it makes it just a little bit sweeter that's against Auburn at home. So I know Coleman Coliseum is going to be packed, and I'm really looking forward to that game on Wednesday.
Yeah, the Bama Standard says they love my mustache. What's crazy is I actually have a lot of other facial hair. It's just gray, so it doesn't show quite as much as the stash does because the stash is still nice and dark. So, but I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, you guys said it all. This team has really probably exceeded expectations for probably even the coaching staff. If you had to ask them, the freshman core has been. Just elite. Even outside of Brandon Miller, Jaden Bradley has been phenomenal. You look at Noah Clowney; he's really exceeded expectations as well. So overall, this team is you can't really ask much more from what they've done. 15-1 in conference play. The SEC is no joke. 2 games remaining, both winnable games. You got to think they're going to take care of business at home against Auburn. Auburn's really struggling right now, so they're kind of going to be in desperation mode if we're being honest, though, because they're still probably trying to fight for tournament berth because they have not looked too great as of late. So that's going to be a really interesting matchup Wednesday night. But considering all that's kind of been going on with the program over the last couple of weeks, the fact that they're able to gut out a couple close wins against SEC opponents. I know it was South Carolina, but a road win is a road win in the SEC, and then you gut one out against a really, really good Arkansas team who I don't think anybody wants to play in March. So you just got to tip your hat to Nate Oats and the players there in Tuscaloosa because they just find a way to win. And you mentioned it, Joe, about living and dying by the three. And like I think the past two games, Alabama is like four. What was it? I had it like 12 of 47 or something from three over the past two ball games. So not good at all. But they've won both games. So they just find ways to win, and that's a sign of a really good team, a tough team. And I think we've talked about it in the past that this team is just mentally tough. They just know how to gut out a win. This last Saturday, after that first half, I'm not sure there was many Alabama fans who thought they would come back and get that win against Arkansas, but they come out and played great in the second half and was able to get that big win. And like you said, they at least are going to be tied for the regular season SEC title, and with one more win, they will have it outright. So just a phenomenal job by the team there in Tuscaloosa.
Absolutely. Go ahead, Joe.
I was just gonna say, I think they, like you said, a lot of fans. Can y'all hear me?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, sorry, I just went dead silent for a second. A lot of fans, like myself, at halftime are kind of anxious about the second half. I know I had a tweet. Basically, I was challenging the team to step up because it just seemed like Brandon Miller was trying to do everything. And, certain games that's going to work out. But when you get later in the season to the point we're at now, going into the SEC tournament and March Madness, you're going to need some other players to step up, and you're going to need the team to be more physical. That's something I think we've struggled with this year. We saw it against Oklahoma. We saw it against Tennessee. These physical teams that play lockdown defense, we have a tough time kind of matching up against. So I think they must have seen my tweet or something in the locker room, because the second half, it was like a completely different team. They were physical, took the ball to the rim, were fighting for rebounds. And I got to give props. I'm talking about guys stepping up. Javon Quinterly stepped up big time. He had 16 points. That's a guy in the tournament that's going to be very crucial. Obviously, people talk about Mark Sears. Brandon Miller is one of the best players in the country, if not the best player.
Right.
But a guy like Quinterly could certainly be an X factor for this team if we want to make a deep run and ultimately win a national championship this year, which obviously is the goal.
Yeah, I agree 100%. That this group of players that we got, me and Stacey talked about it before, Joe. It seemed that last year's team, they was more of a, about me. But this team is about the team, and they, as Stacey said, has exceeded expectations, and like you said, they have one goal in mind. That is a national championship. So I feel like this team is dangerous, and I know they have blown people out, but I still feel like they have not played to their best yet. So, I feel like that's coming within the next, couple of weeks.
Yeah, if we can save all of our 3-point shooting for the tournament, then I'm fine with that.
Absolutely.
3-point making.
Right.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, Jake, this team is. I don't think they've reached their full potential yet. We haven't really had a game where everybody was clicking.
Mm-hmm.
We've had several games where either Brandon Miller or Mark Sears was just lights out, and then maybe Rylan Griffin was hot off the bench, but JQ wasn't, or JQ was and Rylan wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Namari Burnett flashes. Dom Welch has not yet really shown what he's capable of doing yet. So I still think the best is yet to come from this team, and if they are firing on all cylinders when the NCAA tournament gets started, I'm not sure there's anybody that can beat them when they're at their best. And you got to think that when they're locked down and they're ready to go in March, that they're going to be putting some really good efforts out there for 40 minutes. And obviously anything can happen in a basketball game, but I like Alabama's chances of winning that national championship as I do anybody else's.
Absolutely, 100%. And you talked about Brandon Miller and all the situation going on right now. Boy, he has played like he's had a chip on his shoulder the past couple of games. I mean, he's just been lights out. So, it feels like he's got a fire lit under him right now. So I hope that fire stays and he just continues to show up and show out every day.
Yeah, the Bama Standard says, agree with you guys. It can't fall all on Miller's shoulders. We need 2 or 3 more guys to become alphas. Yep, in the postseason, no doubt about it. The Bama Standard. And the thing is that JQ's got experience. I mean, he's been a SEC tournament MVP. I mean, think
Right.
about that. He's that caliber of a player when he is at his best. So when JQ's at his best, Namari Burnett is a former McDonald's All-American. So when he's at his best, he's really good. Rylan Griffin has shown this season that he can, be among the best shooters in all of college basketball. So, and I think another guy that's kind of really flown under the radar, especially over the last 2 or 3 weeks, is Charles Bediako. He has really been important for Alabama there in the paint. He kind of plays that drop coverage coming off ball screens on the defensive end of the floor, and his length and his athleticism. He doesn't get a ton of block shots, but he challenges everything and he disrupts players when they're attacking the rim against Alabama. And he's really a difference maker for the Tide. And then another big, Nick Pringle, a guy that we haven't even mentioned yet. He is really showing flashes of becoming, a guy that's really taking that next step and just another role player for Alabama to use when the NCAA tournament comes around. That, it's hard to defend a guy who lives above the rim, and that's what he does. When him and JQ seem to have that lob going,
Yeah.
and that's a dangerous combination coming off the bench.
Yeah, absolutely. Nick Pringle to me is screaming, Jermichael Green type, athleticism and that type of guy that he could be in the program here, next year and year after. So I'm excited to see how his growth continues to develop.
Yeah, I just kind of want to echo what you guys were saying about Nick Pringle. I love Nick Pringle. He's a phenomenal player. He's kind of growing into his own last couple of games. Also, going back to what you said about Charles Bediako, he's not a guy that's going to score a lot of points. He'll probably have 10 points and 8 rebounds, but his effort and just how well he plays defensively and shuts down some of the bigger centers and postmen, that's not going to show up on the stat sheet. It's
Right.
not going to, but
Right.
those of us who've been watching the games this year and know college basketball just in general know how big of an impact it is to have him playing well for this team.
And the thing about Bediako, and then we're going to get to a quick break, is he hasn't really been playing basketball all that long. I think he played 2 years of high school basketball in Canada before coming to the University of Alabama. So his best basketball is way ahead of him. I mean, you're looking at a guy that probably in 3 to 5 years, that's when he's going to be at his best. And so I think he's going to be a really good pro. And we're going to kind of look back in like 5 years and think, man, Bediako is really good for Alabama, because he doesn't really get a lot of recognition right now. But I just love watching that guy play, because he's all about effort and he's all about making winning plays. And that's really the difference. And him and Nick Pringle could be huge for Alabama come tournament time.
Absolutely. And one other thing you mentioned about the effort, every possession he's running hard down the court, and I'd love to see that in a big man, because he's trying to get back either on defensively or get set up offensively and get the offense set if they do a high pick and roll with him. So like you said, his effort's amazing, and I love to see it.